My experience getting back to a routine after having surgery was I had the advantage of being a student and having some time off of school. So I didn't have to go immediately back into a job. And I used that time to build up my routines and figure out like what is the best appliance setup, what are the things that I can or cannot eat. Turns out I could eat everything, but I didn't know that. So I needed to slowly reintegrate those things and finding out like what are my needs for hydration and all of that. But I pretty much immediately got into a routine that reflected my life prior to having surgery as much as I could manage it.
The biggest part of routine change for me post ostomy surgery, I think, was just, giving the extra time to make sure, of course, my appliance is on correctly. When it came to dressing for me, my dressing completely changed as well in terms of like my outfits. It took a lot longer to, feel comfortable and confident in my body and like in my outfits and all of that. It did take some time, but slowly you will adapt.
Getting back into a routine was actually fairly simple for me. Like getting back into eating and driving and going to the store and stuff like that, it went pretty simply and things were okay. I guess you could say the fun part about getting back into my life and my routine after my ostomy surgeries and everything was going back to college, because as soon as I was recovered, and maybe not all the way recovered, it was just the timing of everything. I had to go start college again, and I go back to school, and I'm immediately having to deal with roommates, dorms. That was actually an incredible experience, because what it forced me to do was to learn my body quickly.
For me, a day in the life before my ostomy surgery, I would be at home. I did not want to leave my house. My ulcerative colitis was embarrassing. It was embarrassing to be around people. It was embarrassing to go to someone's house. After surgery, it really saved my life. I would say mentally and emotionally. I was in a dark place. That got me back to my life.
Before surgery, I was always running. I have little kids at the time. It was running in between. Going to all their extracurricular activities, their plays, all the things. And then after surgery, that changed. I wanted it to stay the same. But because I couldn't walk and do things for, the first 6 weeks, I was actually afraid to go to my children's school events and sit in the audience with a new ostomy, but I knew they needed my support. So I went anyway. So instead of retreating and saying, you know what, just you guys go and do the thing, I'm not going to be there, they were actually like a good impetus for me to keep stepping out and taking those risks. And over time, I learned how to mitigate those risks that I was stressed about, because I learned how to manage my ostomy, and then I was able to support them.
It forced me to study how my new body worked. It forced me to learn everything about my stoma, like how it behaves when I'm super active, when I've just woken up, what happens when I eat different things. It was an adjustment, but I think it was the best thing for me.
I think a common theme of the type of advice that I would give to somebody who's new to having an ostomy is like, just lean in. And, the more that you can kind of emulate your quote unquote normal life, the sooner it will become your normal life, and things become easier, faster that way. So I tried my best to reestablish the routines that I was used to early on, and I think that was something that really helped me.
For me, it's a lot of, mindset of being like, it's going to be struggling, but I can do it. I will do it. I'm going to do it. And, I want to do it. Again, just getting out of bed and going for a walk and being able to put an outfit on after ostomy surgery is a huge milestone. And you need to make sure to be able to recognize yourself for doing these steps.
I would say to someone that doesn't want to leave their house or get back to their normal life, I would say just take it one day at a time. you have to have patience with yourself, give yourself time. With an ostomy, it is a lifesaver, but it's also 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And you have to be patient with yourself. Stepping 1 foot out the door is going to be the hardest thing, but eventually you'll have 2 feet out the door. And then eventually you'll make it down the stairs. And then eventually you'll get in your car. And then eventually you'll drive down the block.
I do remember my first dinner that I went out to with a group of my friends and family after having the surgery. And it was the first time I got to eat like normal food. And we went out to pizza. And, you know, it had been almost a year at that point since I had been able to like safely eat cheese without it causing some horrible pain or distress. Kind of the memory of how painful that would have caused me to become because of my illness, and then, you know, getting to enjoy it during that dinner, being surrounded by my friends and family, and then not being in pain and like being able to just enjoy it and like have that be the end of the story was a pretty incredible feeling.